Welcome, friends, to Manly Monday, a bi-weekly / bi-monthly video series from yourotherbrothers.com, navigating faith, homosexuality, and masculinity together. My name is Tom, and I am the co-founder and editor of Your Other Brothers, and I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first Manly Monday, this is your first time getting manly with us, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We've got a video channel that's booming now. I mean, we've got 2s and 3s of videos now available on our YouTube channel, our YOBTube channel. And if you're new to the site, if you are curious about who we are and what we're all about, you can go to our About page, yourotherbrothers.com/about. Has all about our values and our story and some frequently asked questions. Check it out if you want to learn more about Your Other Brothers, or YOB, as we call it, as I call it. First things first, I wanted to mention that it is approximately a 93-degree day outside. It's at least double that inside with the windows closed. And I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I'm drinking the hot tea because that has become a motif and a staple of Manly Monday. So not only is it 90-something degrees outside, it's at least 100-something degrees inside, and I'm drinking at least 180-degree tea right now. So it's a little sweltering, but I do this for you. I do this for the people. I do this because I'm manly, essentially. I'll be doing a State of the Yob later in this video, but if you've been following our site lately, the last couple of weeks, you'll know that a big happening, a big thing that's transpiring on our site, something that we're talking a lot about lately, is our first retreat that we've ever had. It was our very first Your Other Brothers supporters retreat. We call our supporters Yobbers. If you want to learn more about being a supporter, being a patron, you can go to patreon.com/yourotherbros. But yeah, we're in this midst now of coming back down from the Yobbers retreat, from a mountaintop experience. Today's video about Manly Monday is all about mountaintop experiences and what it's like to come back down into the valley. And for me personally, the Yobbers retreat, far and away, one of my more meaningful mountaintop experiences that I've ever had my whole life. And it's been a tough and interesting decline coming back from that. We hear this phrase, mountaintop experiences, especially in Christianity and church culture, tying back to Moses, like when Moses would go up to the mountain to meet with God, or even Jesus in the New Testament, like going and separating himself from the disciples or taking one or two with him to meet with God in some like far away climb or far away experience away from normal life or the normal world, the real world. And mountaintop experiences are interesting and pivotal because I have several in my life that I can point to and see defined growth and inspiration and a lot of good positive things. Also then the fallout of those experiences, a lot of negativity and a lot of despair, and how to reckon with that duality in the mountaintop experience, the good and the bad. Because the Yobbers retreat was mostly good. It was really good, actually. It's better, couldn't have gone any better than I would have imagined. It was really great. I've noticed something about mountaintop experiences, those like climactic moments in life, those more meaningful moments of life. And I've noticed something about all of mine, including the Yobbers retreat. And I've thought a lot about this in the aftermath of the Yobbers retreat. Because a lot of my more meaningful moments, my mountaintop experiences, have involved a lot of summer excursions, a couple summer camps that I worked at, or even a time in my life when I was living in another home in another city and having this collision, this beautiful unification of church and home life and work and writing and purpose and all those things kind of lining up for, I don't know, maybe a 2 to 3 month stretch. But what I've noticed about all these like mountaintop experiences in my life is that it seems to always involve two things, and that's a rhythm and relationships. A lot of times with these mountaintop experiences, when you go to a retreat or when you go to a conference or when you have some sort of organized thing in nature with people or what have you, there's generally a schedule to it. There's generally a flow, and there's generally a lot of initiative that this is going to happen, followed by this, followed by this. And you kind of just step into it and you go with the flow and you follow whatever has been laid out for you. In conjunction with that, my more meaningful experiences have also involved relationships, not only relationships with others, but relationships with God, my relationship with God. Working with camps, for instance, a lot of intense, close, amazing relationships with fellow counselors, fellow staff, and then also having the youth dynamic and interactions with kids and the activities that we're doing to go with the rhythm aspect. We're playing games, or we're having organized discussions or campfires, or the list goes on and on. From sun up to sundown, essentially, your days are filled not only doing things, but doing things with people. And then in the midst of all that, having space to meet with God, whether it's in worship or in a private devotional setting or whatever. I've noticed that about camps and about that time in my life where I was super healthy and just had really great relationships in my church and my home life and was taking care of myself. It all translates back to the YOBBERS retreat that we just had a couple weeks ago. And our days were filled from sun up to sundown. We had something on the schedule pretty much all day long. If there was an organized downtime, it was still purposed, and there were still chances for people to connect and interact with each other. And it was a beautiful process to be a part of, to have 47 dudes from literally all over the world. We had people travel overseas to get to this thing, which was amazing. Just an intense love for one another, a love for God. It was really evident everywhere I looked at the retreat. And needless to say, my favorite aspect of the retreat was the unification and seeing how we can all come together from different faith backgrounds, traditions, beliefs, and then just unite at the end of the day. We had worship times at the end of the day and times of prayer at the end of the day. And to be a part of that in that room, a big living room atmosphere with worship and prayer and dimmed lights. It was just a really beautiful, sacred moment to be a part of with these other guys, with these 46 people. Which leads me to why the retreat was the worst and why I now have all of these swirling emotions that I previously didn't have. And that's because leaving is hard. Saying goodbye to everybody. There were so many tears and so many hugs goodbye. And one of the worst visuals I've had in life ever. And it materialized so tragically and poetically at the retreat. But the sound of cars leaving, and especially leaving on gravel or leaving on loose stones, and hearing that sound of stones kicking up as cars leave. It's one thing when they get there and it's the super exciting sound, the crunch, crunch, crunch of cars coming and people coming and brotherhood coming in your midst. But then to hear those crunch, crunch, crunches as those cars leave and dust kicking up into the air, I mean, it's hard. It is hard leaving that environment, to go from such an intensely focused, committed, unified environment back to our scattered corners of the globe and being back in our home lives. And for some of us, they're great. Some of us have great communities and great churches and great jobs and great passions and purposes. And some of us don't. And some of us are struggling to make it all happen. And so now it's what do we do? What do we do in the aftermath of a YOBBERS retreat or a mountaintop experience coming back into the valley? Because I'll admit, most of my life has been in pursuit of the mountain. And basically, if I'm in the valley, I just need to get out of the valley as soon as possible. And if I'm coming back down from the mountain, again, I need to look at the next mountain and get out of this valley as soon as possible. But I think there is beauty, and I think there's still redemption and purpose, absolutely, to be found in the valley. Ultimately, it comes down to intentionality. I've talked about the rhythms and the relationships at these retreat experiences. And there's no reason why we can't take initiative back home. Maybe a lot of the pieces are there in place for us when we go away to these places, these mountaintops. But figuring out what's within our power, what's within our control to initiate back home, that's something that I'm intensely looking at and focusing for my life. How can I take experiences from the YOBBERS retreat and rhythms and relationships there, and how can I bring those back to my home and to my community in my day-to-day life? And it's something I encourage for everyone out there if you've had those moments in your life. And that's what my question is for this episode of Manly Monday, to comment on this video or comment on our video page at yourotherbrothers.com/video. I want to hear about your mountaintop experiences. What are they? What have they been? Whether they're camps or retreats or some other experience. And then how have you come back to your life? Have you struggled to figure out how to employ some of those elements from those retreats? Or has it been easy? Has it been hard? I'm curious about taking the mountaintop, employing those values and those lessons learned in the valley. How do you guys do it? Because I think it does come down to intentionality and realizing that we have more power and more control than we realize. And being able to step into that confidently, I think, is a huge step. So I'm curious to hear how you guys are doing it. And as I continue processing what I learned and took away, you can bet that I'll be telling and sharing more. Certainly on Manly Monday, maybe in a blog post, maybe in a podcast. You never know. So our scripture for this week is Psalm 23:4, which is a popular one when people are just really struggling and going through a hard time. We call these the valleys of the shadows of death, something very epic and dark and sinister. But it can translate to honestly any valley. And I've used this verse in my life to translate to any valley, any kind of just time of normalcy, of ordinariness. Maybe it's not as epic or as blazingly brilliant as the mountaintop experiences of our lives can be. But there's still purpose, and there's still God leading us through those valleys. So Psalm 23:4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So be comforted, brothers. If you went on the Yobbers retreat, if you're having a hard time being back home, or if you're going through any kind of valley right now in your life, take heart, my brothers. He's with you. He leads you. And let's have an awesome comment time, because we had so many comments on our last Manly Monday. But stay tuned for the State of the Yob. Oh yeah, it's time for State of the Yob. State of the Yob is right now. And this is where I go around and talk about everything that's happening on our site, starting with our blog, yourotherbrothers.com/blog, for all of our stories, stretching back 2.5 years now. You can read all of our blog posts, but I wanted to share some of our more recent ones, and they're all very retreat-centric. So if you missed anything, if you're catching wind of this retreat for the first time and you want to learn more about it, here is your Yobbers Retreat 101 right now. A bunch of the core authors and myself, we debriefed the retreat in a conversation blog called Debriefing our first Yobbers retreat. It was great. We had a really great conversation talking about our favorite moments, things that we would have maybe modified or changed, things that we took away from the retreat. And it was a really great way to just get different perspectives, because we split off into different tribes throughout the weekend, different small groups. And so there's different discussions and different things happening that I wasn't aware of. And it was cool to hear how all these stories came together to make one awesome weekend. So check out that post if you want to hear some perspectives from some of our core authors on the site. And then Eugene, who was at the retreat, he wrote a sort of follow-up to the retreat. He definitely referenced it in his post called Optimism, with an exclamation point. Did I say that right? Optimism. There we go. That's better. So Optimism by Eugene, and he talks about, just this, how brotherhood in his life has really changed the game for him forever, ultimately. That having these friends, these brothers, these relationships in his life has infused a hope that wasn't there before. And it's really encouraging to read. So check out Optimism by Eugene. And then yours truly, Tom, I wrote a post called I'm an Other Brother Too. And I'm still definitely reeling from this one and processing it and appreciating it all the more. But I talk about my most meaningful moment from the retreat. I had lots of them, but I wrote about one when I was in my tribe, my brotherhood tribe, marked by this stone right here. I talked about a moment with a brother in the group where he came over and hugged me just in the middle of our conversation, and it really helped me close the gap of separation of leader of Yob to other brother too. So check that out if you want to learn more just about my thought processes and emotions as far as leading Yob and being a part of Yob. Check out my posts. I would love to hear from you about it. And then stay tuned this week. Coming up this week on yourotherbrothers.com, we have a post from Ryan, and he's talking about some of his friendships and brotherhood moments and the imprints that are left in those moments. So if you're curious more about friendship and brotherhood, we have an awesome post from Ryan coming soon this week. Over in podcast world, we have a podcast that comes out twice a month called the Yobcast. And our most recent episode was, surprise, surprise, our retreat episode. We broadcast live from the retreat. We had a studio audience for the first time ever in our history. And it was a really fun episode. We didn't have a defined topic, but we just kind of shot the breeze, me and a couple of the other authors and podcasters, and had a great time. We invited one of our Yobbers actually onto the show for a little bit and got to talk to him, hear his perspective. So if you want a different kind of episode, a fun but also hopefully meaningful episode, check out our Yobbers retreat episode. That's episode 37 at yourotherbrothers.com/podcast. You can also find us on iTunes and subscribe. You can always subscribe to our show. That really helps. You can rate our show. You can review our show. Thank you to the 70 plus of you guys out there and ladies out there who have reviewed the Yobcast on iTunes. That is amazing. Thank you guys. Going back to our last video where I talked about Christian conflict and this whole prospect of unity, it was I wasn't expecting as much awesome feedback and conversation to develop after that. It was our most commented Manly Monday that we've ever had. 27 comments and counting. It could be 28 now. I don't know. Thank you guys to everyone. Thanks to everyone who commented. I wanted to read an excerpt actually from Ryan, one of our amazing bloggers and brothers. He had this to say about engaging in debates, especially debates in Christianity online. He talked about emotional capital. I've had exchanges with people online where I was thinking, dude, I've known you for 10 minutes and I haven't enjoyed any of them. Are you expecting me to change my mind here? The internet gives us a shortcut to other people's eyes and ears, but doesn't give us a shortcut to their hearts. And I loved how he stated that so succinctly and so perfectly about being able to get to know people instead of just seeing something you disagree with and launching into attack mode. Like, get to know that person. What is their name? Where did they come from? What are their hopes and dreams and ambitions, and how did they get here? I think that goes a long way. Get to know somebody, and the conversations and disagreements can be so much more profitable and fruitful in the aftermath. So that's just an obvious thing, but super profound as well. So thank you, Ryan. Going over to the mailbag, if you want to shoot us an email, please do. manlymonday@yourotherbrothers.com. I would love to hear from you. If you're enjoying the show, if you have an idea for the show, if you just have something you want to say to me, that's your outlet to do it. manlymonday@yourotherbrothers.com. We also have a P.O. box if you want to send us some snail mail. Your Other Brothers, P.O. Box 843, Asheville, North Carolina, 28802. Today is a really exciting Manly Monday because we are doing a giveaway. That's right, we're doing a giveaway because we did receive something in the mail. And this is what we got. I'm really excited actually for this because I've actually talked about it on my personal social media, and I'm excited now to bring it to Yobb's channels and outlets and everything pertaining to Yobb. And it's this book called Guiding Families of LGBT plus loved ones. And this is put out by an organization called Lead Them Home. They're a nonprofit, and their whole mission, their whole purpose is to reach out to the LGBT community within the church, outside the church too. But essentially this book and a lot of the work they do is geared toward pastors and church leaders and parents, and increasing awareness and understanding of what people of whether they identify as gay or same-sex attraction or however they want to label it and put their words on it. It just gives so much information about what people like us, people like me, deal with on a regular basis. And there's so many stories. This book is beautifully laid out. I mean, I'm just flipping through it flippantly, but it is beautifully laid out. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, honestly. There's just so many great graphics and stories and questions and answers. And actually, yours truly, I'm so honored by this. But yours truly, Tom, I got to write something for this book. I'm really honored that I was even asked to provide something for this book. But I did. I got to provide something called Deep Dark Secrets. There's an excerpt from my book that I wrote, Struggle Central, adapted for this book. And it's just a little bit of my sharing when I first came out to people, and the whole notion that I thought I had deep, dark secrets that I was going to carry with me to the grave. And obviously, here I am now talking about them on Manly Monday to all of YouTube. But anyway, this book is amazing. We now have it on our resource tab at yourotherbrothers.com/resources. You can go there if you're interested in picking up a copy. If you want to learn more about Lead Them Home and what they're doing, highly recommend them. You can go to leadthemhome.org for more information on their organization. And this is really exciting because today we're doing our first ever Manly Monday giveaway. I'm going to give away one of these because I didn't even show the rest of this box. This whole box is filled with copies. They were so amazing to send me a box of copies of Guiding Families. And I figured our yobbers, our people who are following our site, who watch these videos, y'all should get one of these. And I want to give one away. So I want to make it really easy. If y'all want a copy, I'm going to do a random draw. I'm going to do a giveaway between now and the next Manly Monday video. All you got to do to enter is leave a comment, either on our YouTube channel or on the video page at yourotherbrothers.com/video. Leave a comment on this video or on this post, and I'll put your name in a hat, probably. I don't know. I'll find a hat, and I'll put your name in it, and then additionally, you can get extra entries if you post screenshots of you liking our video on YouTube, /subscribing, signing up for notifications on YouTube. If you show me any or all of those things, I'll put your name in the hat multiple times. If you want a copy of this, I think you'll enjoy it. I think it really will. It'll bless you, and especially if you know somebody who would benefit, a pastor, someone of influence, or even just like a parent or somebody. I think this would be an amazing resource for them. So yeah, if you want to win the Guiding Families book, the first Manly Monday giveaway, simply comment and show me screenshots of you liking, subscribing. Those are great things you can do on our YouTube channel anyway. They really help us out. So thanks to those of you who have already done that and continue to do that and support everything we're doing. That's it. This has been a jam-packed episode. I really hope you appreciate me surviving the heat for you, the viewer, the faithful follower. Yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for being a part of Manly Monday. This is Tom for all your other brothers, reminding you to speak meekly, chase madly, and be manly everywhere in between.